Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kyushu here, and now, before we do continue, let's give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. Now, we had Izuku Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya went to Logan and Spidey for some advice. And Izuku, he confided in Spidey about one thing. Because of Ultron, he might have fathered more children. And this certainly is a bit of a problem. Now, Spidey gave him the advice to go talk to these women and see what's going on, see how they're doing. Izuku already talked to Sasha Hammer, and she was talked out of revealing the Mark 10 designs. He then went to Wakanda and talked to Storm. She seemed to be doing okay, and she seemed to be in better spirits. He then talked to Lorna and Wanda over in Genosha. He met with Magneto and told the man he was going to try and rebuild the Guardians and even build one to protect Genosha. Magneto punched him across the face upon hearing the news. He was rebuilding these machines. He did not like that Izuku was doing so. He can understand it, but after what happened, Izuku cannot wholeheartedly rebuild them in good conscience. Now, Deku, he went to meet with the council. The case was dropped, but he was asked if he was going to rebuild the Guardians, and he explained that he was. He then tried to talk with Crystal. He told her quite simply a few things happening. After Ultron messed with his head and got into his head, he doesn't know what thoughts are his. He doesn't know what thoughts were Ultron's. He knows he affected the robot in some way. He knows that his mind rubbed off on him, and in return, that mind rubbed off on Izuku. He is trying to gain his bearing on himself before he hurts anybody around him, anybody he cares for. He also told Crystal the whole truth. Ultron may have fathered children using his body. He might have a situation on Earth. And this, it definitely was annoying. Crystal could understand a few things. She was trying to be angry, but understanding with Izuku. But the moment Izuku basically packed up his shit and left, she was mad. He'd set down his ring and talked about taking time to himself, because he doesn't want to hurt her or their daughter. And Deku left. She was mad. She does care for Izuku. She does want to know why. She can understand all of this, but coming to terms with it, that's the harder part. It's hard to be rational, but emotional. It's hard to be angry, yet understanding. And right now that meant quite a bit. The robot may have just torn their family apart, and Izuku finds himself on an asteroid, alone in a workshop. Now, with that being said, Deku has gotten back to work, and the guardsmen, or the sentries, they have begun to be rebuilt. Izuku's been collecting material, along with dusting off much of the old machinery he built here. Fabricating, breaking down, forging, and making, along with even synthesizing certain materials and creating certain things they will need. This place is a bona fide forge, and right now it is hot and ready with the iron. Right now he is building everything he does need and putting it together, along with upgrading and modifying multiple things. And Izuku, he has been here for several days, and currently Deku, he does go to put in the finishing touches and press enter. Right now everything should be automated. He gathered the materials he could from nearby asteroids. He's gathered much. All he really needs to do is create the baseline. Everything else afterwards is the sentries upgrading themselves with enemy technology. And that is that. Currently Izuku going to turn. Him standing up and walking over. Right now him entering a code into the door as the door is to open. Deku stepping inside and going to turn. and currently there actually is the room does begin to purge itself of oxygen. Deku going to sit there for a second as another door is going to open after that one does going to close. And Deku, he does, going to walk outside out into the darkness of space. Deku in the Iron Man suit. It does mean quite a bit. The suit's so comfortable sometimes he doesn't know whenever he's wearing it. Sometimes he forgets to take it off. Ultron had some ideas for the Iron Man armor that were good. They were amazing. Stealth technology incorporated into the suit. A way to repair and be adaptable. Ideas he had himself. But whenever you merge those ideas, they make it superior. They make it better. The Model 10 had a right to be called Prime, but it wasn't the best. Nizuku, he does sit there out in the darkness of space, thinking about a lot, watching passing asteroids, and with much going through his head. It sucks. He thought he had a handle on his life. He thought, after Sasha, the worst thing he had to deal with is just the occasional supervillain. Maybe just do things there. Being Iron Man was the greatest challenge he ever faced. But after some of the messages he's been getting back and forth, and talking with other people, talking with other heroes, one of his other challenges has arisen, and it means quite a bit. After Thanos, what should he do? Go back home? Maybe. But is he welcome there? Is he okay to go there? He asked for time. Crystal is more emotional than he is. If he doesn't think it's a good idea, it's definitely not a good idea. He does want to see Jasmine, though. Let her see her father. Let her know her dad's okay. He saw how she reacted whenever Ultron possessed him. She was scared. She knew something was wrong. That the mental images in his mind are not good. Ultron changed. He could have been better. Different? No, Izuku. Even then, he was still irredeemable. He murdered Hank Pym. Then again, no other Ultron could exist. There's no Ultron. None left. It going through his mind. There's Vision, but the chances of him going rogue are close to zero. He could take him down, but at the same time, Vision has proven himself as an ally, as a friend. And now, he's waiting for an invasion. Deku looking out, and telling his armor to begin scans on deep space. He wants to know if there's any life signs within the next light year, other than Earth and Attilan. Tell him what's happening. Now, the armor, we're going to begin. And Izuku, he does get one piece of information. Life signs have been detected on the asteroid. I'm going to turn, looking around and asking about where they are. And his armor would inform him. Currently, they are inside the Century Forge. And Deku, he has to head back inside. Currently, him walking through the airlock and looking around, as Reed Richards does stand there. Him looking at some of the information Izuku does have on screen. And Deku, he would stare at Reed, going to ask him exactly what is he doing here. And he will get a turn. We're now seeing the Iron Man armor go to dematerialize around Izuku. Him going to express he's here for a number of reasons. Deku walking past Reed and over to a table. Currently, him grabbing a beaker as he will get a turn. Him bringing it up to his lips and having a drink from it. I'm going to tell him You'd think locking yourself away on an asteroid millions of miles away from Earth would have been enough to say you don't want to be really, you know, bothered, but apparently not. Izuku, I'm going to talk to you. I'm sorry, Reed. I just, I've gotten some information that's heavy. Have you now? Yeah. Sorry. Any report on Thanos? Hmm. Yes. About that. We picked up on a few things. Radio chatter has been interesting. We believe that we've detected an oncoming threat. Until we know how dangerous it is, we don't know. What do you mean? How dangerous? If it's a threat, it needs to be taken care of. I'm aware. Izuku, we have yet to pick up on anything. They have faster than light travel, and they should be here soon. That's all we're aware of. They are going to do a lot to Earth. Thanos is a very big danger, and that's why we can't keep all the stones together. Him bring his hand down, and currently going to pull up a small little device, and Deku will go stare at it. Currently, it's sitting in Reed's palm. And Deku, he would step forwards, bringing his hand down and grabbing onto it. Aware as to what this is. You're giving me one of the stones? Reality. You're giving me. Why? What what reason? Izuku, you're here. The stone cannot be detected inside this device. And, by that logic, it cannot be found. Thanos would spend the rest of eternity of his life trying to track it down. And this asteroid, as far as I'm aware, we are the only two individuals who know of its existence. Other than people on Attilan, I built it far away for a reason. I built it to be untraceable. Exactly. The only reason why I found you is because of your outburst a few days back. Quite a lot of damage. Yeah, sorry. Interesting technology. I've run the numbers in your Sudozuku, and I don't believe I should specify how dangerous you are. Yeah. What about Earth, though? Correct. A shield's been built, something to defend the planet. However, if Thanos does show up on our doorstep, we don't know how safe it might be. It should hold out for long enough, at least until we can devise a proper strategy. But Izuku, I do need you to understand. Understand what? This is a threat unlike anything we've ever faced. There will be an army, and Thanos himself is the Mad Titan. He's conquered worlds, killed countless, and he does so to impress death. How do you know all this? I do. I have my information, Izuku. Now listen. Many Avengers have talked. After what happened with the battle years ago, people are unsure how to handle Thanos. We've sent him running before, but his victory, it bolstered him. He may not leave Earth alive this time. He may not try to attack us. Inhumans have been moved from Attilan to Earth for the time being, to be protected under the shield. They have? Yes. The moon was seen as a place he might go to first. Make a example. If he does, he's going to destroy Attilan. That's my home. Yes, Izuku. Right now, though, it's unsure. All data shows much. It's inconclusive, and so far from what we do have, it's not good. What about Tony? Hmm? What about him? How's he doing? I've heard he's announced his return. Yes, he has. He's settling back in. You know, right. Listen, Reed. I appreciate the trust in this, but I came here to get away from some of my problems. It was a girl. Hmm? Susan. She had a girl. Congrats, Reed. Though I'm pretty sure we've had this conversation before. Right, I'm sorry. I thought you just want to know. Izuku, there is much you can do, but there's not a lot you can change. I know. Though, there is one other idea. I'm looking at Reed. And Reed, his face is a lot more stern, a lot less stoic. It shows a sinister side to it, one he hasn't seen before. And Izuku, he's a little caught off guard. And Reed would go to express, the Mad Titan might need to die. And Izuku can understand that. Thanos is threatening the entire population of Earth, his home planet, the place his children reside on, the place his family resides on, people he loves reside on. And this does mean quite a bit. Now, Reed does go to express. Izuku should prepare, get himself mentally ready. Though he does have one other thing to say. Hmm? What is it? You might want to go by a new name. What do you mean? Well, I'm just saying. You have Riri, Ironheart. You have yourself. You've been in Tony's shadow for years. You've gone by Iron Man. How about something different? Tony is going by Superior Iron Man. Though I don't think that that's the right term for him. Try something yourself. Better. Maybe, well, with that suit of yours. Think of it. What are you good at? What are you? You are Zuko Midoriya, the boy who took up Tony's mantle in his absence, in his death. And now, you're going to be one of the greatest heroes Earth has ever met. Izuku, people will put faith in you. People will put trust in you. And I know after everything that you've been through, you'll get back up. But remember, part of you is still human. Keep that in mind. Find a moniker that suits you. If you do need to, get away from everything. Go somewhere nice. I've heard California is nice this time of year. Maybe if you do need to, head there. Solve some things. Work on yourself. You're doing that here. But isolation is not good for the mind. And yours has been put through enough. Reed bringing his hand up. I'm going to press a button on his belt. And currently, he does go disappear. And Deku, he doesn't look down at the reality stone in his hand. Him just aware. Tony's taking back up a new moniker, a new mantle. And he's still going by his old one. The one he inherited. But if that's the case, then what should he do? Now, Deku's armor, it does get a beep and warn him as to an oncoming threat currently approaching the asteroid belt. And Deku, he has a turn opening up his armor's data. Currently him seeing on screen that something currently is moving fast. It passing quickly through the asteroid belt and beginning to invade. Now, Deku, he watches them fly past him on screen. Currently Thanos' armada going to move towards Earth, heading there very quickly. Now, Izuku, he does have a lot going through his head. The guardsmen, they're not ready yet. They're not here yet. Though, Thanos, he's expecting to encounter resistance at Earth. The armada he's seeing on screen, those are overwhelming numbers. Those are numbers that the Earth is not prepared to meet. And Izuku, he just got to think. He was worried about a lot of things. These are enemies to Earth. People who want to see everybody he's ever loved or known killed. And Deku, he has a turn, sitting down one of the stones and going to press a button. As right now, he does go to inform his system to begin work on the sentries at double time and to increase manufacturing speed as much as possible. He wants one of these things done within the next 10 minutes. And Deku, he's informed. If production is accelerated to maximum, it can be done within an hour. And that term is acceptable. Currently, Izuku going to do one thing. Him going to actually have his armor around him and teleport outside. Currently, him staying there and looking up, seeing the threats fly through the asteroid belt. And Izuku, he has to take flight. And currently there is Thanos. Thanos sat there on his throne, him leading the charge of his troops, leading them towards the glorious planet Earth. He has a lot going through his head. How he might handle things this time. He will do what he must. And if he does need to, he will make a throne out of the corpses of the Earth's heroes. Something to sit upon whenever he does have his victory. Something that he will have whenever death comes to see him. He will make sure he does right by her name. He will impress Mistress Death. He will hold her in his arms. And the universe, it will have the greatest peace it can, where it ends, and life goes to a halt. And right now this does mean quite a bit. And then as his troops do begin to radio in, because Izuku, he just obliterated an eighth of the armada by himself. And Thanos, he's a lot more surprised. Currently, him informing his troops to full speed their way to Earth. Right now, he will not be stopped from his prize. And there currently is Izuku, who does some bombarding his way through another ship, him smashing through it and then going to turn, bringing his hands up and locking onto targets. Right now, him blasting his hand out and Doki smashing through another ship. Currently, him watching the repulsor blast smash through the ship as it's being explode in space. And Izuku, he would turn. Right now, him locking on multiple targets and having his missile systems pop up, along with a massive system on his back beginning to open up and spread out. And Izuku, he'll going to send out a massive barrage. And the moment he does, there is multiple ships, they are immediately struck by the missiles, along with them beginning their own explosions. Now, Izuku, he has to look around. Currently, him going to actually charge up his unibeam and get ready. Him turning and blasting it out through the asteroid belts. Currently, it tearing through asteroids along with bombarding their way through the fleet, cutting a swath through them. Now, Thanos, he does actually try and pay attention to what's going on behind him. However, with his fleet taking care of that threat, things should be easier. And there currently is somebody who is trying to attack Izuku. They do come flying around. Currently, enemy troops have been deployed, and one of those things are flying towards Izuku. And Deku, he would turn, seeing it fly towards him as he's opening up his shield. Him, then, bringing his hand up and adjusting his shield slightly. Currently, his shield gonna break apart and open up. As Deku, he's gonna send those pieces of his shield flying out towards the threat. Currently, them smashing through and cutting into this enemy ship. Them cutting it apart as it does to explode. And Izuku, he does a look around. Currently, him bringing his hands up and spinning around. Currently, letting loose everything he can in his armor. And this is beginning to lay waste to the fleet. And there currently is on Earth. Thanos and his troops have arrived. He doesn't know what Earth may have set up to build the he does not know what Earth may have built to stop him, but that certainly was not as impressive enough. It is giving his troops a fight. However, right now, it does not matter. It is not one of his concerns. As currently Thanos, he does begin to make his announcement to Earth. Currently, him blasting away Attilan along with even part of the moon. Him expressing to the heroes about what he is here for. And currently Earth, they do begin to have their media taken over. And Thanos is expressing everything. Earth will be conquered in his name. Earth has choices. Surrender now or perish under Thanos. If they do not surrender the stones, he will make Earth the last planet he kills. He will take it over, and slowly but surely he will rip apart their settlements, tear apart their planet, make it inhospitable to all life. And he does give many threats. He even does offer a counter. Hand over the stones willingly, and Earth will become the last planet to be destroyed. Earth certainly will have its own time. However, he is willing to negotiate, though these negotiations will be short. Now, this does pose a bit of a problem, and currently there's where Thanos does a bring his hand up with a power stone. Him charging up a blast and smashing it down to Earth's shields. Currently, Earth taking the blow and trying to have those shields do what they can. And this does mean quite a bit. And currently we do have the Avengers, who they've already begun to deploy. And right now there actually is Tony. Tony does get to float there himself in his Endosim armor. Him, a lot more wary about what's happening, a lot more concerned. There's Ironheart. There are multiple heroes ready. And right now, they have to protect their planet, their home. However, all of them are here. And there currently is Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is waiting. She can bum rush the ship and take on Thanos. She can take that thing out and hopefully make those troops divided. In the chaos, they'll split up. And when that does happen, heroes can take them on. Take out the biggest gun. And leave the little guys to scatter and run. If they are truly loyal to Thanos, they're willing to die. That does mean everything. They're aware as to what they're a part of. They stopped being good people when they joined his side. And currently Thanos does a bring his hand back, blasting out another powerful blast into the shields as the shields do begin to blow up. And Earth is left defenseless. Now, the ships do begin to move down. And there currently is with Thanos, he himself, he does go to fall out of his ship. Right now him smashing down to New York. And the moment he does, Marvel does a blast up into the air and trying to encounter enemy forces, taking on what she can to make her way to the massive ship, along with multiple other heroes. Now, we do currently have the Inhumans, who, they get themselves ready for their own defenses. They have gone back to Attilan, the Attilan cities they've built. And right now, this does mean everything. They need to deploy their own defenses and make sure that they are safe. Make sure their people are okay. And there is even Genosha. Genosha is in the middle of rebuilding efforts. However, they will not fall to more threats. And Magneto himself is quite aware of that. He will be ready to defend Genosha single-handedly if possible. And right now there actually is Izuku. Izuku, he has a teleporter his way to Earth. And whenever he does arrive, he has a look up, seeing everything going on. Him going to actually bend down for a minute and get ready, because of what he's about to do. And Deku is a blasting up into the air at high speeds. Currently, people hearing a sonic boom in New York and looking up. And there actually is Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was trying to take on overwhelming force. However, the sheer numbers of everything were a lot more alarming. She's being attacked from all sides. And then there actually is where something does come flying up past her and smashing through the enemy ship. Currently, it bombarding its way through as Deku's a turn, bringing his hands over his head and going to start a massive blast. Currently, him cutting his way through multiple people, along with destroying the massive ship that does begin to fall into Earth's orbit. Now, Izuku, he has to bring his hands up. Currently, him going to actually grab onto something and rip it up. Currently, the ship going to stop as Deku will get a turn. Missile systems beginning to deploy. And Marvel, she is watching on, as currently scientists comes flying through the air, smashing into Deku. And Deku, he actually is a lot more alarmed. Right now, his shield's going to deploy, and then stab into the threat that currently is attacking him. And Deku, he's a smash through the ship currently falling into Earth's orbit. Him beginning to try and gain his bearing and turn, activating his air brakes as the ship is being exploded around him. And there actually is outside of New York, where Deku does a smash down and land, before he has to get back up. And currently Deku, he does go to actually patch himself into Avengers columns, hearing the uproar, hearing everything. And Izuku, he does at least have someone ask the question, if they know what the hell that was. And Izuku will go to respond, talking about how he's a bit late to the party. And people do hear his voice. And Deku, he does to ask one question. Where is the Mad Titan? Now, Thanos himself is annoyed, and he is ready. And we do currently have Thor. Thor is standing there in front of the Mad Titan, a lot more aware as to what happened the last time they faced off against this threat. And then there currently is the Hulk, Ben Grimm, and then She-Hulk. A lot of people are here, and we do actually have where Captain Marvel does come flying down. Her right up behind Thanos as the man finds himself outnumbered, and the Mad Titan, he does begin to smile. Currently, him talking about it with the Earth's heroes, as the superior Iron Man does come flying down. Right now, him expressing to Thanos, this is going to be different. He came to their territory. They outnumber him, millions to one. And the man, he does just start to laugh. And they're actually Suzuku, who does get a teleport in. Right now, him standing there, as Thanos does turn his head, sing another Iron Man. And pray tell, what might this be? Deku looking up and staring at the Mad Titan. And the Mad Titan, he has a turn looking at Deku, a lot more aware. He nearly killed the last human wearing a suit, though he didn't miss his shot. Though this time, he will not make that same mistake. The Earth's heroes, they were certainly quite a small team. Though this time, they go rushing forwards, and the more people who could see him rush Thanos, everyone's a lot more alarmed. Currently, the Mad Titan bringing his hand up and going to turn. Him throwing out a fist as Deku, he going to bring his hand up. Currently, him activating one of his air brakes and going to actually evade the punch, bringing his hand upwards and uppercutting the Mad Titan. And Thanos is then flying upwards through the air. And everyone, they're a lot more alarmed to see Izuku do that, as currently the Mad Titan is then flying up into the atmosphere. Now, Izuku will get a turn, yelling that they all need a plan here. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, I'm leaving you guys on a bit of a cliffhanger, but the next part is going to be a full-on invasion.